Minho opened his eyes and saw nothing but white. He was lying on something cold and smooth. His head hurt badly, like someone had hit him with a hammer. He tried to remember what happened. There was his ship. There was a bright light. Then darkness. And now this. He sat up slowly and looked around. The room had no corners. The walls curved into the floor and the ceiling like the inside of an egg. Everything was the same pale white color. There was no door, no window, no way out. "Hello?" Minho said. His voice sounded strange in the small space. A deep voice answered from everywhere at once. It was not human. It was not anything Minho had ever heard before. Prisoner 7,841,203. Species: human. Origin: Earth. You are now property of the galactic hegemony. You are inside the hollow. You will remain here until your death. Minho stood up. His legs felt weak. Where am I? What is this place? The hollow is the most secure prison in the galaxy, the voice said. It was built 1,000 years ago inside a dead moon. In 1,000 years, no prisoner has ever escaped. You will not be the first. Minho touched the wall. It was warm, and it moved slightly under his fingers, like it was alive. He pulled his hand back quickly. The walls are made of living metal, the voice continued. They respond to your thoughts and emotions. They know what you are feeling. They know what you are planning. Any attempt to escape will result in immediate death. Minho said nothing. He walked around the small room, looking for any crack or weakness. There was none. The room was perfect and smooth like a pearl. A small hole opened in the wall. Inside was a cup of water and a gray block of something that might have been food. Minho picked up the water and drank it. He was very thirsty. You will receive food and water 3 times per day, the voice said. You will exercise when we tell you. You will sleep when we tell you. You will obey or you will die. What did I do? Minho asked. Why am I here? You exist, the voice said. That is enough. The hole in the wall closed and disappeared. Minho was alone again. For 3 days, Minho did nothing but sit and think. He tried to find patterns in the walls. He tried to find weaknesses in the routine. He found nothing. The prison was perfect. On the 4th day, the wall opened and someone was pushed inside. It was a woman. She was human, with short black hair and tired eyes. She fell to the floor and did not move for a long time. Are you okay? Minho asked. The woman looked up at him. Her eyes were empty, like a lamp with no light inside. You're new, she said. My name is Minho, Kang Minho. Hyan, the woman said. She sat up slowly. I've been here for 3 months. Maybe 4. It's hard to know. 3 months? How did you get here? Same as you, probably? I was a soldier. We were exploring a new sector. They captured our whole ship. She laughed, but there was no happiness in it. We thought we were the hunters. We were wrong. Minho sat down next to her. Have you tried to escape? Hyan looked at him like he was a child. Everyone tries to escape. In the beginning, I tried 17 times. You know what happened? Nothing. The walls knew what I was going to do before I did it. I would think about running, and the floor would become soft like mud. I would think about breaking the wall, and it would become hard like diamond. This place reads minds, Minho. It knows everything. That's impossible, is it? Hyan pointed at the wall. Think about something. Anything. Think about being angry. Minho thought about his ship being captured. He thought about waking up in this cell. He felt anger rise in his chest. The wall near him turned red. It pulsed like a heartbeat. See? Hyan said. It knows. It always knows. Minho stared at the red wall. Slowly the color faded back to white as his anger cooled. So, what do we do? He asked. Hyam lay down on the floor and closed her eyes. We do nothing. We eat. We sleep. We wait to die. That's all anyone can do here. Minho looked at her for a long time. Then he looked at the walls around him. They were smooth and white and perfect. They could read his thoughts. They could predict his actions. They had held thousands of prisoners from hundreds of species for 1,000 years, but they had never held a human like Minho. He was an engineer. He had spent his whole life solving problems that other people said were impossible. He had fixed machines that experts said could never be fixed. He had found solutions that no one else could see. And he had one skill that no machine could understand. He could wait. Minho lay down on the floor, just like Hyan. He closed his eyes. He made his mind very quiet and very still. He stopped thinking about escape. He stopped thinking about freedom. He stopped thinking about anything at all. The walls watched him. The machines scanned his brain. They found nothing but peace and acceptance. But deep inside, in a place that no machine could reach, Minho made himself a promise. He would get out of this prison. He would just have to be patient. Very, very patient. 3 months passed inside the hollow. Minho became the perfect prisoner. He woke when the lights came on. He ate when the food appeared. He exercised when the voice told him to exercise. He slept when the lights went off. He never complained. He never asked questions. He never thought about escape. The guards noticed. They were tall creatures made of living crystal, with faces that had no eyes but could still see everything. They walked past Minho's cell every day and watched him through the walls. This one is different, they said to each other. He does not fight. He does not plan. He simply exists. Warden Talaric, the master of the Hollow, heard about Minho. Talaric was ancient, older than the prison itself. His body was made of purple crystal that had grown dark with age. He had watched 1,000,000 prisoners come and go. He had seen every trick, every plan, every desperate attempt to escape. All of them failed. Bring me his mind records. Talaric ordered. The guards brought him a glowing tablet that showed everything Minho had thought for the past 3 months. Talaric looked at it for a long time. Interesting, he said. His mind is like a still lake. No storms, no waves, just calm. Is he planning something, Warden? Talaric made a sound that might have been a laugh. How can he plan when he does not think? No, this human has simply accepted his fate. He is broken, like all the others eventually break. But Talaric was wrong. Minho was not broken. Minho was learning. Every day, he sat in his cell and watched. He watched the walls. He watched the floor. He watched the ceiling. He did not think about what he was watching. He simply observed. He noticed that the lights flickered slightly every 37 minutes. He noticed that the floor vibrated softly when the transport pods moved through the station. He noticed that the living metal walls had a tiny delay when they responded to his emotions. Just a small delay, less than half a second, but it was there. He stored these facts in his memory, but he did not think about them. He did not connect them. He did not make plans. He simply collected information, like a man collecting stones without knowing why. Hyan watched him with confusion. She had given up hope long ago, but Minho seemed different. He was too calm, too patient, too peaceful. What are you doing? She asked him one night. Nothing, Minho said. I am doing nothing. No one does nothing. Even doing nothing is doing something. Minho smiled. Then I am doing something by doing nothing. Hyan shook her head. You're strange, maybe. There was another prisoner who noticed Minho. Her name was Yuna, and she was not human. She was a Valori, a tall insect-like creature with 4 arms and large golden eyes. She had been in the Hollow for 200 years. The Valori were known for their patience. They could sit still for years, waiting for the right moment to act. But even Yuna had never seen patience like Minho's. One day, during the exercise period, she approached him. The exercise room was large and gray, filled with prisoners of 100 different species. Guards watched from every corner. "Human," Yuna said, "I have a question for you." Minho looked at her calmly. "Ask. I have watched you for 90 days. You never look at the doors. You never test the walls. You never talk to other prisoners about escape. But you are not broken. I can see it in your eyes. You are waiting for something." Minho said nothing. "What are you waiting for?" Yuna asked. Minho looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at the guards. Then he looked at the walls. Then he looked back at Yuna. "I am not waiting," he said. "I am ready." "Ready for what?" "I don't know yet. But when I see it, I will know." Yuna's golden eyes studied him carefully. "You speak in riddles, human." "No, I speak in truth." The problem with planning is that plans can be seen. Plans can be stopped. But if there is no plan, there is nothing to see. Nothing to stop. Yuna was silent for a long time. Then she made a clicking sound with her mouth, which was the Valori way of laughing. "You are either very clever or very stupid," she said. "I cannot decide which." "Maybe both," Minho said. "Humans are complicated." From that day on, Yuna stayed close to Minho. She did not ask him questions. She did not try to understand him. She simply watched, just as he watched. She watched how he counted the flickering lights without seeming to count. She watched how he felt the vibrations in the floor without seeming to feel. She watched how he noticed everything while appearing to notice nothing. And slowly, she began to understand. Minho was not making a plan to escape. He was becoming the escape itself. Every piece of information he collected was a key. Every pattern he noticed was a door. He was building a map inside his mind, but it was not a map of places. It was a map of possibilities. One night, Yuna whispered to him through the walls. "I think I understand now, human. Do you?" Minho whispered back. "You are not fighting the prison. You are learning its language. And when you speak it perfectly, you will simply walk out." Minho smiled in the darkness. "Keep watching. Yuna, the lesson is not finished yet." And somewhere deep in the station, the machines continued to scan his brain. They found nothing but calm. Nothing but peace. Nothing but a quiet mind doing nothing at all. They had no idea that silence could be so dangerous. Minho discovered the secret by accident. It happened during a routine brain scan. Every 10 days, the prisoners were taken to a small white room where machines looked deep inside their minds. The machines searched for escape plans, for hidden thoughts, for any sign of rebellion. Minho sat in the scanning chair, his mind empty and calm as always. The machine hummed around his head, reading his thoughts like words on a page. And then Minho sneezed. It was sudden. It was unexpected. It was completely beyond his control. His whole body shook with the force of it. And for one brief moment, everything went wrong. The lights flickered wildly. The machine made a horrible grinding noise. The walls of the room rippled like water. And then, just as quickly, everything returned to normal. A guard rushed into the room. "What happened? Report." The machine made a series of beeping sounds. The guard listened, then relaxed. "A malfunction," the guard said. "The system reset itself. Continue the scan." The guard left. The scan continued. But Minho's mind was no longer empty. He had felt it. In that brief moment when he sneezed, he had felt the machine lose its grip on him. The living metal walls had hesitated. The neural dampeners had stuttered. For less than a second, the entire system had been confused. Why? Minho thought about it carefully. making sure to keep his thoughts slow and scattered so the machines would not notice a pattern. He thought about the sneeze. He thought about what made it different from other actions. And then he understood. The sneeze was not controlled. It was not planned. It was not something his conscious mind had decided to do. It was pure biology, pure chaos, pure randomness. The prison was built to read minds. It was built to predict actions. It was built to stop any creature that tried to escape. But it was built by aliens who thought in straight lines. Aliens whose brains worked like computers, logical and ordered and predictable. Humans were not like that. Human brains were messy. They fired in random patterns. They jumped from thought to thought without reason. They could think about one thing while doing another. They could feel joy and sadness at the same time. They could sneeze without warning. The Hollow was not designed for this kind of chaos. Over the next few weeks, Minho experimented carefully. He did not make plans. He simply tested. He would suddenly think of a song from his childhood, letting the music fill his mind without warning. The walls would flicker. He would remember the taste of his mother's cooking, so vivid and strong that his mouth would water. The floor would soften for just a moment. He would feel a burst of random joy or random sadness, emotions that came from nowhere and meant nothing. The dampeners would hesitate. Each time. The effect was small. Less than a second. But it was there. The machines could read his thoughts, but they could not predict his chaos. They were always one step behind. Minho told Hyan first. "You want me to what?" she said, her eyes wide. "Think about something random. Something the machines won't expect. A memory. A feeling. A song. Anything that comes from instinct, not from logic. That's your escape plan? Thinking about random things? It's not a plan. That's the point. Plans can be predicted. Chaos cannot." Hyan looked at him like he was crazy. But she was desperate. She had been in this prison for almost 7 months now. She had watched her hope die slowly, day by day. If there was even a small chance that Minho was right, she had to try. She closed her eyes. She thought about her grandmother's garden. She thought about the smell of flowers after rain. She thought about being a little girl, running through tall grass with the sun on her face. The wall near her flickered from white to soft blue. Hyan's eyes snapped open. "Did you see that?" "I saw it," Minho said, and for the first time in months, he smiled. They told Yuna next. The Valori listened carefully, her golden eyes unblinking. "This is interesting," she said. "My species thinks in patterns. We are very ordered, very logical. The machines have no trouble reading us. Can you learn to think like a human?" Minho asked. "I don't know. Your minds are very strange to us. Like a river that flows in all directions at once. Try, watch us. Learn our chaos." There was one more person who helped them. Her name was Somi, and she was also Valori. But she was not a prisoner. She was a technician who worked inside the Hollow, fixing machines and maintaining systems. Somi hated the hegemony. They had destroyed her home world centuries ago. She had been forced to work for them, but she had never forgotten what they did. When she heard about Minho and his discovery, she came to him in secret. "I can help you," she said through a hidden crack in the wall. "I know the guard schedules. I know where the maintenance tunnels are. I know the weak points in the system. Why would you help us?" Minho asked. "Because if a human can escape the Hollow, it will show the whole galaxy that the hegemony is not invincible. It will give hope to everyone they have crushed." Minho nodded slowly. "Then we work together. But you must understand," Somi said. "Even with my help, the chances are very small. The Hollow has held prisoners for 1,000 years. No one has ever escaped." Minho looked at her calmly. "No one has ever been human. Somi made the Valori clicking laugh. I am beginning to understand why the hegemony fears your species. They don't fear us yet, Minho said. But they will. He turned back to Hyan and Yuna. The three of them sat in a circle, their minds full of random thoughts, their hearts full of dangerous hope. The machine had a flaw, and they were going to break it wide open. The day of the escape was not planned, it could not be planned. That was the whole point. If Minho made a plan, the machines would see it. If he chose a specific day, the guards would know. So instead of planning, he simply waited until everything felt right. It was a normal day in the hollow. The lights came on at the usual time. The food appeared at the usual time. The prisoners moved through their routines like ghosts, empty and hopeless. But Minho felt something different in the air. A tension. A possibility. He could not explain it, and he did not try. He simply knew. He caught Hyan's eye across the exercise room. She saw something in his face and nodded slightly. Then he looked at Yuna. The Valori's golden eyes flickered with understanding. It was time. Minho started simply. He began to hum a song from his childhood. It was a silly song about a frog in a well, and it made no sense at all. He did not think about the song. He just let it fill his mind, random and meaningless. The walls around him flickered white to gray. Hyan joined in. She started thinking about the ocean. She had never seen the ocean on Earth, but she had seen pictures. She imagined the waves, the salt smell, the endless blue water. She let the feeling wash over her without control or direction. The floor beneath her feet rippled softly. Yuna had practiced HumanHFY for weeks. It did not come naturally to her, but she had learned. She thought about colors and sounds and tastes all mixed together. She thought about laughing and crying at the same time. She thought about everything and nothing. The dampeners in the room began to buzz and crackle. Other prisoners noticed. They did not know what was happening, but they could feel the change. The air was electric. The walls were shaking. Something was wrong with the machines. A guard appeared at the door. What is happening? Stop immediately. Minho looked at the guard and smiled. Then he did something completely unexpected. He started singing, not humming, not thinking. Singing out loud, in full voice, a ridiculous song about a frog that wanted to see the sky. His voice was terrible and off-key and absolutely wonderful. The walls went crazy. They flashed through colors like a broken rainbow. Red, blue, green, yellow, purple. The living metal did not know what to do. It could not predict this. It could not understand this. It could only react, always one step behind. Hyan started laughing. Real laughter, deep and wild, the kind she had not felt in months. Tears ran down her face as she laughed, and she did not know if they were tears of joy or tears of madness. Maybe both. It did not matter. Yuna made clicking sounds that might have been Valori laughter, and the combination of human chaos and alien joy created a storm of confusion that the machines could not handle. Alarms began to sound throughout the hollow. The other prisoners, seeing the walls flicker and the guards panic, began to make noise of their own. Some screamed. Some laughed. Some began to fight. The whole prison was waking up, shaking off the chains of 1,000 years of perfect order. Warden Towerek's voice boomed through the station. All guards to the main chamber. Contain the prisoners. This is not a drill. But it was too late. Minho moved through the chaos like water through sand. He did not run. He did not fight. He simply walked, his mind full of random thoughts that the machines could not catch. He thought about the smell of rain. The walls opened. He thought about his father's laugh. The dampeners failed. He thought about the taste of cold water on a hot day. The locks released. Somi was waiting for him in the maintenance tunnels, just as she had promised. Her golden eyes were wide with fear and excitement. "I cannot believe this is working," she whispered. "Neither can I," Minho said. "That's why it's working." They moved quickly through the dark tunnels. Behind them, they could hear the sounds of chaos. Guards shouting, prisoners screaming, alarms wailing. The whole station was falling apart. Hyan caught up with them first, breathing hard. "This is insane," she gasped. "This is absolutely insane." "Keep thinking random thoughts," Minho told her. "Don't stop." Yuna appeared next, her forearms helping her move quickly through the narrow space. Behind her came other prisoners, creatures of all shapes and sizes who had followed the trail of chaos. "The escape pods are ahead," Somi said. "But there are guards. How many?" "6, all armed." Minho nodded. He kept walking. His mind wandered to memories of his grandmother's kitchen, the way she used to make soup on cold days, the steam rising from the pot. They reached the guard station. 6 crystal guards stood in a line, their weapons raised, their eyeless faces turned toward the approaching prisoners. "Stop," one of them commanded. "Surrender now or be destroyed." Minho looked at the guard. He looked at the weapons. He looked at the escape pods waiting just behind them. Then he thought, very clearly and very loudly, about ducks. Not one duck. Hundreds of ducks. Thousands of ducks. Ducks swimming, ducks flying, ducks quacking, ducks wearing tiny hats, ducks playing chess, ducks dancing in the rain. An absolute flood of random, meaningless, beautiful ducks. The guards froze. Their weapons lowered slightly. Their crystal bodies flickered with confusion. "Now," Minho said calmly, and the prisoners surged forward. It was not a fight. It was a flood. The guards, confused and overwhelmed, were swept aside like leaves in a river. The prisoners rushed past them, toward the pods, toward freedom. Minho was the last to enter the escape pod. He turned and looked back at the hollow one final time. For 1,000 years. This place had been perfect, unbreakable, inevitable. And now it was burning with chaos. Man Ho smiled. "Time to go," Hyan said, pulling him inside. The door closed. The engines fired, and the escape pod shot into the darkness of space. Behind them, the hollow screamed with alarms and confusion. Ahead of them, the stars waited. The escape pod was small and crowded. 19 prisoners pressed together in a space meant for 10. But no one complained. They were free. Through the tiny window, Minho watched the hollow grow smaller and smaller. The dead moon that had been his prison for 6 months was now just a gray ball floating in the darkness. Lights flashed on its surface, alarms still screaming inside. Hyan sat beside him, her hands shaking. "I can't believe it," she whispered. "I can't believe we actually did it." Yuna made her clicking laugh. "Humans," she said. "You are the strangest creatures in the galaxy." I mean that as the highest compliment. The communication screen on the wall crackled to life. A face appeared, made of purple crystal, old and angry. "Warden Tauric." "Prisoners," he said, his voice like breaking glass. "You have made a terrible mistake. No one escapes the hollow. No one. We will find you. We will capture you. And when we do, you will wish you had never been born." Minho stood up slowly. He walked to the screen and looked at Tauric's face. "For 1,000 years, Minho said, you have told that lie to the galaxy. You have said that no one can escape. You have said that your prison is perfect. You have made everyone believe that resistance is impossible." He leaned closer to the screen. "But you forgot something, Warden. You forgot about us. You built your prison for logical minds. You built it for creatures who think in straight lines, who plan in patterns, who fight with reason. But we are not logical. We are human. Talrek's crystal face darkened with anger. You are nothing. A small species from a small planet. The hegemony has crushed thousands like you. Maybe, Minho said, but you have never crushed us. And now the whole galaxy will know what we did. They will know that a human escaped the unescapable prison. They will know that your perfect system has a flaw. And they will start to wonder what else might be possible. You think this changes anything? You are just one man. Minho smiled. I am not one man, Warden. I am a beginning. He reached out and turned off the screen. Talrek's angry face disappeared, replaced by silent darkness. The pod flew on through space. They found a safe place eventually. A small station at the edge of hegemony territory where rebels and outcasts lived in the shadows. The station was crowded and dirty and dangerous, but it was free. Word of the escape spread quickly. First as a whisper, then as a rumor, then as a legend. A human had escaped the hollow. A single human, with nothing but his strange mind and his stubborn heart, had broken the most secure prison in the galaxy. Other species heard the story and did not believe it at first. The hollow was supposed to be impossible to escape. It was supposed to be perfect. But the evidence was clear. 19 prisoners had escaped. The hegemony could not hide the truth dot in prison cells across the galaxy. Prisoners looked at their walls with new eyes. If the hollow could be broken, maybe other prisons could be broken too. Maybe other systems could be broken. Maybe the whole hegemony could be broken. Hope, which had been dead for so long, began to wake up. The hegemony responded with fury. They sent hunters after the escaped prisoners. They increased security in all their prisons. They announced that the escape was a trick, a lie, a story made up by rebels. But it was too late. The legend had already spread too far. On the rebel station, Minho sat in a small room and looked out at the stars. Hyen found him there, late at night, when the station was quiet. What are you thinking about? She asked. Minho said. Earth, my family. I wonder if they know I'm alive. Hyen sat down beside him. We'll find a way to send them a message, somehow, maybe. Minho was quiet for a moment. Do you know what's funny? I didn't escape because I'm brave. I didn't escape because I'm strong. I escaped because I couldn't stop hoping. Even when it was stupid to hope. Even when everyone told me it was impossible. I just kept believing that there had to be a way. That's not funny, Hyen said. That's human. Minho laughed softly. I guess it is. Yuna appeared in the doorway. Behind her were other escaped prisoners and other rebels who had come to meet them. They filled the small room with bodies of all shapes and sizes. There is a council meeting, Yuna said. The rebels want to talk about the future, about what we do next. They want to hear from the human who broke the hollow. Minho stood up slowly. He looked around at the faces watching him. Humans and aliens, prisoners and rebels, all united by a single impossible escape. I'm not a leader, he said. I'm just an engineer. You are more than that now, Yuna said. You are a symbol. You are proof that the hegemony can be defeated. Whether you wanted it or not, you have started something that cannot be stopped. Minho took a deep breath. He thought about the long months in his cell. He thought about the patience, the waiting, the careful observation. He thought about the chaos and the singing and the ducks. He thought about 1,000 years of prisoners who had tried to escape and failed. And he thought about what might come next. Okay, he said finally. Let's go talk about the future. He walked out of the room, and the others followed him. In the corridor, more people were waiting. They watched him pass with something in their eyes that he had not seen in a long time. Far across the galaxy. In a dark room at the heart of the hegemony, the leaders gathered to discuss the human problem. They were old and powerful, beings who had ruled the stars for thousands of years. They had conquered countless worlds and crushed countless rebellions. But now they were worried. One of them said, "One human destroyed our greatest prison. Imagine if there were more," another said. "Imagine if they organized. Imagine if they fought. They are a small species, weak, limited. We should destroy their planet before they become a threat. We tried that once. They survived. They always survive. That is the problem." The leaders argued late into the night. They made plans and counterplans. They calculated and analyzed and predicted. But they forgot one thing. Humans could not be predicted. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, Minho and his friends were already planning their next move. The escape from the Hollow was just the beginning. The real story was only starting.